I'm sorry, but anybody who thought we were getting change in the last 3 weeks or so, this being the first live episode of the new year, I want every one of you who think change is coming to just shut your mouth and just fall back in line like the sheep that you are, because this show was trash. One segment that was good and was meant to be good and wasn't going to be trash at all was Hulk Hogan coming out to pay homage to his friend Mean Gene Okerlund. That was the only thing about this show that was good, and it had to be. I was sitting here thinking and watching that and just being like, please don't have this being turned into an angle over and over and over, just because it's just like WWE do. They did it when Paul Bearer passed away. They turned it into an angle between CM Punk and The Undertaker. They've done it with Eddie Guerrero's passing. They did it with Natty's dad, Jimmy Anvil Neidhart's passing, with all these things that they like to do. So I was just like, please don't make this into an angle and give us a reason to see Hulk Hogan again, because we don't need to see him. We had Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman with a sort of face-to-face, I guess, if you want to say that. John Cena returning. Yeah, change. Just real change right there. The only thing that you could say, I guess, was a little bit of change is the fact that Sasha Banks is going to be facing Ronda Rousey at the Royal Rumble for the Women's Championship. We'll get into that and what I think this is leading to as we go on. But the rest of the show was just same shit, new year, same old Raw. There was nothing else about this show redeeming at all. Nothing. We had a Falls Count Anywhere match for the Intercontinental title with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, which was after the two were in a six-man tag match to open the show. We had the Revival in a tag team championship match against Roode and Gable, with the rest of the tag teams in the division serving as Lumberjacks. And I'm just going to say right now, I hate Lumberjack matches. They are something that needs to be thrown into, they need to be just thrown into a paper shredder and just shredded completely, because they are trash. They are never exciting. Outside of, I think, back in, 2001 or 2000, when The Undertaker came back as the American Badass, which I believe that was a Lumberjack match, wasn't it, between The Rock and Triple H? That was a Lumberjack match, right? That one had excitement. Nothing since then has had excitement. Lumberjack matches are absolute trash. I cannot stand them. They almost, except for this one, they always lead to the same thing. Everyone on the outside starts brawling, and all the confusion, the heel wins the majority of the time. This was just another one of those, like, who cares? And of course, the Revival gets screwed again, so we're probably going to see another match either next week or at the Royal Rumble, and I honestly don't care. This is one too many times. You broke the straw. The straw broke. The straw broke for this, and I just don't care anymore. I do not want to see the Revival versus Roode and Gable again at the Royal Rumble. It is absolutely ridiculous to even think that I want to see that match. It's just WWE, again, not listening to the fans. Again, doing what they do, saying, oh, change is coming. We're going to have Raw and SmackDown be much, much better. SmackDown, and a lot of the reasons why Raw is sucking so much is the fact that Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns are gone for now. Well, Roman's going to be gone a lot longer than the other guys. This roster has been heavily depleted over the last 6 or 7 months. It's Raw at 3 hours needs more to them, but they also need to have more, better creative. This show was just trash all around. When you start off with a Pier 6 brawl between Bobby Lashley and, first thing we see is the in memory of Mean Gene Okerlund, who passed away last week on, I believe it was Tuesday or Wednesday. Yeah, it was Wednesday, January 2nd, 2019. We get a brawl between Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley in the back with superstars trying to pull them apart. They talked about how this rivalry is brewing, but I'm sorry. When was Bobby Lashley and Seth Rollins feuding before last week, where Triple H put Seth Rollins in a match against Bobby Lashley, and Bobby Lashley won by DQ. So where did this entire rivalry come from? And by the end of the night, this rivalry continues. I'm just telling you right now. They make it to the stage and continue brawl as superstars fail to stop them. As soon as the brawl finally ends, out comes John Cena, because, you know, he was supposed to be here last Monday on the taped episode of Monday Night Raw for the final episode of Raw of 2018. But due to illness for AJ Styles, he faced off against, I believe, Daniel Bryan at a house show while this match was taking place. So while Raw was taking place last week, that's why we didn't see John Cena on Raw last week. Well, he comes out and cuts a promo to declare himself for the 2019 Royal Rumble, and he gets interrupted by one Drew McIntyre.
You see, everybody here knows that on the road to WrestleMania there is one match that any superstar can grab that golden ticket. The golden ticket to a main event championship match of the granddaddy of them all, wrestling.
You only get the main event when Vince McMahon says you get the main event. I mean, Shinsuke Nakamura won the Royal Rumble last year, and he was him and AJ Styles were middle of the card, yet Roman Reigns had to go through the Elimination Chamber and close the show.
WrestleMania! And that's Royal Rumble. In life, nothing is given away. Nothing is handed to you. You work hard, and you earn every inch. And I plan on earning my golden ticket. Right now, I am officially entering myself in this year's Royal Rumble match. Man, I'm fired up.
You want to institute change? How about having Triple H come out, who was in charge, I guess, of Monday Night Raw tonight, because we didn't say Shane, Steph, or Vince McMahon. But how about have Triple H come out and be like, we're not going to you're going to have to earn your way in. You haven't been here in months. What have you done lately? We're going to put you in a match against this person or these 6 people, and if you win, you're in the Royal Rumble. But now, let's just have everybody declare. I miss when you would have Royal Rumble qualifying matches like we did back in the mid-2000s, and probably even in the Attitude Era. I could be wrong about that. But we definitely did in the mid-2000s. Not everybody had to qualify, but most people did. Let's get those back.
John Cena, you are the greatest of all time. What are you doing? What's your point, man? What are you doing?
The point is this. I don't know if you've been following the product and keeping up with things, but I have a reputation for taking out the greats. And maybe you can do some research. Maybe you can check with the Shield. Oh, wait, no. I single-handedly dismantled the Shield. Maybe you can check with Dolph Ziggler. No, I destroyed Ziggler in a cage match last week. I've got one for you.
I honestly hope it is the last time we see Dolph Ziggler. He lets his contract run out and goes and becomes elite with AEW, because he would be a nice hand for them and be able to be pushed or shown as good as he is, because AEW would probably use Dolph Ziggler better than WWE has ever used him.
How about you phone your friend Kurt Angle? He will tell you what I'm capable of, because I didn't just beat him. I humiliated him. I made him cry. I tapped him out to his own ankle lock. I am the most dangerous man in WWE, and John Cena, I've come for you now.
Guys, I was feeling pretty good. Started the show with a brawl. Came out here. Amazing noise. You guys were into it. And then this. And now I'm sad. Because what's really sad about this, Drew, the same thing every week from practically every single superstar. So much so that I had to leave so you guys would shut your mouth and think of a different promo. What makes you any different than anyone?
All right. Maybe I could give you the same old. I know you want to pass the torch, and I'm going to take it, or I can keep it this simple. Here we're all talk. I'm going to bloody show you.
And before we could get anything between these two, out came Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley to ruin what was a pretty good segment between those two, which led to Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley brawling some more, Finn Balor coming out and making this a generic six-man tag match. As always, we go from these two having a pretty decent promo between each other, John Cena being serious, Drew McIntyre always serious, and then everything just turns into, well, we have six superstars, three who are heels, three who are babyfaces. Let's do a six-man tag match, and let's do it right now in between the break. Oh boy, the match started during the break. Of course, that just shows you how much WWE cares. Balor with a basement drop kick to Ambrose. Ambrose tags in McIntyre, lands a chop followed by a deadlift suplex. Balor kicks out. The heels take turns beating down Balor. Balor manages to land the overhead kick on Ambrose. Balor tags in Cena, who goes all 5 moves of doom, as we know. Everything but the lightning punch. I don't remember if the lightning punch was probably in this match at all. Which, the less we see of that, the better. That lightning punch is just a joke, and it's just an embarrassment. It really is. Cena hits an AA, but McIntyre blasts him with the Glasgow kiss because he did tag in, and this Glasgow kiss knocked Cena down, but rocked Drew McIntyre. And I'm thinking, WWE has had a lot of ex-superstars and legends come out and try and sue them for concussions. And you're letting one of your bigger stars, well, you're close to a big star in Drew McIntyre, who could be the future of this company, just sit there and literally whack his head against everybody he faces, and it's like, it's gotta stop. The Glasgow kiss or the headbutt like that should stop. There have been Japanese legends and other wrestlers who had to retire from a headbutt. It could really mess you up, and this one looked like Drew McIntyre rocked himself silly. It was not something we needed to see. After the break, Ambrose is choking Cena in the corner. McIntyre tags back in and crushes Cena with a nasty spinebuster. Moving ahead a little bit, and we have another break, and after another break, and Cena and Ambrose clothesline each other. Cena finally tags in Balor, who clears the ring. This match went on way too long. This match, I swear, went at least 30 minutes. Shotgun drop kick followed by the coup de grace. As soon as Balor gets in his feet, McIntyre Claymore kicks him. Rollins tags in and springboard clotheslines McIntyre. Long story short, Ambrose tries a sneak attack, but Rollins hits the stomp for the win. Winners are John Cena, Finn Balor, and Seth Rollins. After the match was over, these three are celebrating in the ring, and we see Triple H in the back conveniently talking to Bayley and Sasha Banks, probably about the women's tag team titles, which he's shown on the big screen. Seth Rollins is a little miffed about that, makes a beeline to the back, runs into Triple H, knocks the coffee out of his hands, and says he wants Ambrose, and he wants the Intercontinental Championship, and he wants it tonight. Triple H says, you got it. Falls count anywhere, tonight, welcome back, walks away. So, basically, that's the first, 40 minutes of this show. Absolute waste of our time. And it must be nice for superstars of this generation in this time, because all it takes, they said the automatic rematch clauses are antiquated, they're no longer a thing, but it's like, why would you even just say that if you're going to give Seth Rollins another championship opportunity when he really didn't do anything? Yeah, he beat Dean Ambrose in a 6-man tag match, but I feel like you should have to do more to get another title opportunity. I mean, hell, Charlotte and Becky Lynch are going to be facing off against each other, and add Carmella into that. So we're getting a SummerSlam rematch tomorrow night, and the winner goes on to face Asuka. I don't even know where to go with that. So, yeah, that's how we're going to go with that. Next, we had Hogan paying tribute to Mean Gene Okerlund. You've got to hear, as much as I hope they put the whole thing on here, but this was, quite honestly, the best part of the show.
All rise as we honor the life of WWE Hall of Famer Mean Gene Okerlund with a 10-bell salute.
I know copyright claims.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. You know something, guys? I came out here wide open tonight in character because that's exactly the way Mean Gene would have wanted it. I want to let all you guys know, Mean Gene loved entertaining, and he loved entertaining everybody here in the WWE Universe. Mean Gene loved entertaining more than anything that he did. You know, guys, I got to tell you, being out here in the ring without Mean Gene, it's not, you know.
Now, before we continue that on, he did show he did say we're going to look at his highlights and everything, and we saw a nice video package of it, Mean Gene Okerlund, from the AWA to the WWF to WCW. They left out the gimmick battle royal, or him coming back at WrestleMania, which I think would have been great to add in there, but the final thing they showed for the package was the ending of his induction speech for the Hall of Fame. And to anybody who was outraged for the fact that Hogan was coming back to Monday Night Raw, I wasn't outraged on Unscripted. I was just saying that this was something that quite honestly, he didn't have to be in front of the crowd if this would have kept WWE from getting any flack. But it still was a good segment. This was again the best segment of the show, and that's not saying much because this show was just trash overall. But he does cut one final promo for Mean Gene.
He's not here, but he is right here. He's right here, man. I love you, Mean Gene. Miss you. Well, let me tell you something, Mean Gene. I know exactly what you're doing, brother. You're up there, and all the angels are singing Tutti Frutti on top of those big white clouds. I know that you're putting the greatest tag match together, brother. The tag match between the Macho Man, ooh yeah, Randy Savage and the Ultimate Warrior versus Roddy Piper and Mr. Perfect. And I also know that Andre the Giant is a special referee, brother. And I also know
Listen, Mean Gene, I heard those weights clanging and banging up there at the pearly gates. And brother, you don't have to get so swole up. You've only got a choice between Moolah and Mae Young, brother. So, Mean Gene, I guess there's just one question left to ask. All the maniacs up there, brother. What you gonna do when Mean Gene Omania runs wild on you, brother?
Mic drop. Beautiful promo. Best show, part of the show was definitely one of the best tributes WWE has done in a long while. And they haven't done anything like that for any other legend since, I don't know. It's been a while since they've done one of those kind of tributes. But it was great to see that happen. Hopefully that's the last time we see Hulk Hogan on anything other than probably one of these Saudi Arabia shows they do later this year. But definitely best part of the show. We go from something that was great, and if you would, and before we move on, I have to say, Mean Gene Okerlund for me was before, like, I was watching WCW in 97-ish, 98-ish, up until it folded. So I didn't get to see the greatness of Mean Gene Okerlund from the WWF days because he was, or when he was in the AWA, because I wasn't even thought of yet, or I was just a wee tiny baby. So I didn't get to see the greatness of Mean Gene Okerlund live. Thankfully for the WWE Network being a thing, me, and along with anybody else from this generation or anyone else coming in, can go back and watch highlights of Mean Gene Okerlund. You can go watch the greatness of Mean Gene, like Mean Gene, or Piper, Perfect, Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man Randy Savage, Andre the Giant, or anybody else, or Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan, as he mentioned. You can check all of them out on the WWE Network. And if you are a parent and your kid loves likes the WWE, it is your duty to have them, if they don't know anything about Mean Gene Okerlund, you should have them go back and watch the old AWA, WWF, and WCW stuff. For Mean Gene Okerlund, the biggest thing that comes to my memory was the Legends House season that he did with Piper, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Pat Patterson, and everyone else who was there. Hillbilly Jim, and I believe there was a couple other ones. That was a great show on the WWE Network. Of course, taped 2 years prior. I would really wish they would do another Legends House with other legends who weren't on the first season. I'm not a big reality TV person as it is, but when it came to Legends House, it was just awesome to see these legends of yesteryear out of their elements and just making goose of themselves. Piper just seemed to fit into whatever they needed him to do. It was a lot of fun and is one of the few actual reality shows or anything like that that I actually watch. It was just something fun to watch. But Mean Gene Okerlund is gonna be missed. He was from what I've got to see and everything else, he was one of, if not the greatest interviewers. He probably was the greatest interviewer of all time. There is not really anybody who have been there before or since that has been as good as Mean Gene Okerlund. He was just one of the greatest. He was one of the greatest legends, and rightfully so, a Hall of Famer for WWE. And I don't know if Lou Thesz Hall of Fame has inducted him yet, but he should go there too. For the simple fact is, he was a one of a kind, and there will never be another Mean Gene Okerlund. So if you are somebody who grew up on Mean Gene, and you have kids who probably know nothing of Mean Gene, do your due diligence and make sure they know who this guy was, because he is just somebody that everybody should see. But moving on from that, we go to one of the dumbest things I think had happened. Let's have a tag team title opportunity. What happened last time on Christmas Eve? The Revival lost, but did not actually lose, because the wrong man was pinned. So we have a rematch tonight, but let's make it a lumberjack match. And quite honestly, this lumberjack match did absolutely, the lumberjacks almost did nothing. Nothing. They added nothing. Lumberjack matches, the lumberjacks add nothing to the shit match. Nothing at all. We started this match off and Wilder and Rude trade some pin attempts. Rude almost hits the glorious DDT, but Wilder rolls out of the ring. I really hate when it's like we get 2 minutes into a match, like Rude grabs them and is like glorious, like he's gonna hit the DDT like that and end the match. It's never gonna happen, and it's just stupid. Rude brings Gable into the ring. Gable rolls up Dawson, but Dawson kicks out. Gable lands Ricky Morton-esque head scissors, and both Dawson and Wilder. Rude back body drops Gable onto Dawson and Wilder outside the ring. Rude gets the blind tag and suplexes Gable onto the top rope. After the break, Rude tags in and suplexes Dawson and then Wilder. Moving on a little bit, we have a Chaos Theory by Gable, but Wilder breaks up the pin with a top rope splash. Gable kicks out. Gable and Dawson trade pin attempts. Dawson puts Gable in a small package. Rude, who's on the outside in this area, pushes the pile so Gable is on top. As Gable gets the 3 count, Dawson's foot is clearly under the bottom rope. Referee doesn't see it because he's out of position. 1, 2, 3. Chad Gable and Bobby Roode retain. But, again, the Revival gets screwed, so we're going to get a third match between these two tag teams. Why not just give the Revival the tag team championships on Raw and have some kind of like gauntlet match? They should have won the match tonight, and then have a gauntlet match between them and everybody else. They have to start number 1 and go through every single tag team. You want to prove you're the best tag team out there? You have to go out there and face everyone. And it's just funny how Dawson and Dash and Dawson were sitting there. They had a pre-tape promo for this match, and you have Dash and Dawson, the Revival, talking about how they're glad that this tag team lumberjack match is happening because they want the other tag teams to help preserve the integrity of the tag team championships. And I'm like, wait a minute, your own boss, Vince McMahon, sees absolutely no money in tag team wrestling. He sees no money in tag team wrestling. So why in the hell would anybody care on the main roster about the integrity of... Oh, it's just so frustrating. We have great tag teams in the Revival. The Ascension could be big monster heroes if we use them right. Vince McMahon sees no money, so what do we get? We get shit like this. Moving on here, we have Elias out against... He starts talking trash on Baron Corbin, and we get Elias versus Baron Corbin. I'm just going to say this right now. This match was trash. Any match you know is trash that has CM Punk chants. To fans who chant CM Punk, let it go. Let it go. CM Punk is more likely to sign with AEW. If CM Punk would be coming back to wrestling, it is not going to be with the WWE. It would be Ring of Honor or All Elite Wrestling. Plain and simple. There is no chance in hell I see CM Punk coming back to WWE, especially if All Elite Wrestling becomes a big deal. Especially if All Elite Wrestling starts to become a powerful number 2. They will. I don't care what anyone says. They are not coming up and being a number 2 immediately. They are going to be number 3 because you can't just sit there and be like, oh, well, they're number 2 already because of who's with them. They have not proven themselves as a promotion until we they're going to be number 3 right now. It's going to be, and it sucks because of Impact Wrestling because they've been around for way longer. They've been around as long as Ring of Honor, but it's going to be WWE, Ring of Honor, AEW, Impact Wrestling. AEW could be from here till it could be by the time we get this. By the time this year ends, they could be number 2, but they are number 3 right now. But CM Punk will definitely be one of the people who I could honestly see if he's coming back to WWE, coming back to wrestling. It's going to be with AEW. So can we let the CM Punk chance go? But Baron Corbin wins. Who really cares? Because honestly, I don't. Then we were supposed to get a Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman face-to-face, and this was so god-awful I don't even want to play the audio. Even if they don't have the audio, I do not want to play the audio because God was this awful. And Braun Strowman comes in the ring, Once Heyman and Brock Lesnar show up on the Titantron, and Heyman says, "Card subject to change. We're not coming out there." Braun Strowman goads Brock Lesnar into coming out. Brock Lesnar eventually comes out, circles the ring, walks back up the stage. Braun Strowman says, "At the Royal Rumble, they're going to crown me the new Universal Champion because you're going to get these hands." And that was the whole segment in a nutshell. So that was that. It was just cringe-worthy TV. Yet you people think change is coming. We get shit like this. We go from that to even more shit. We have, first off the Mixed Match Challenge, the losers of the finals, Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox versus Apollo Crews, and his new tag team partner, Ember Moon. How far Ember Moon has fallen? From battles with Asuka in 2017, winning the NXT Women's Championship at NXT TakeOver War Games 1, to entering 2018 as the NXT Women's Champion and having the night out before WrestleMania match with Shayna Baszler where she dropped the title, making her debut and doing on Raw and doing absolutely nothing, to where she is just going up with having 2-minute squash mixed tag matches. God, it's gotta suck to be Ember Moon. You go from being one of the biggest names in NXT, having some battles with Asuka, bringing Asuka to having one of the best women's matches for NXT, if not the best women's match, surpassing Bayley versus Sasha Banks 1 and 2, to teaming with Apollo Crews to beat Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox in about 2 minutes. Gotta suck. We have a moment of bliss, and I'm not going into it because it's just ridiculous. I don't even care about it. Nia Jax and Sasha Banks come out eventually. They argue, they bicker, and we get a number one contenders match. So Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax. Nia Jax needs to be sent back to beginner school with Norman Smiley because this bitch is getting ridiculously out of hand. I'm surprised Sasha Banks is not injured after tonight. Jax chases Banks around the ring. Banks hits a mini 619 on the apron. Banks traps Jax in a guillotine, but Jax reverses it into a suplex. Avalanche in the corner by Jax. Banks lands a knee. Jax crushes Banks in the corner. Tamina motions towards Banks. Bayley attacks Tamina because Bayley just showed up out of nowhere. Tamina tosses Bayley in the barricade. Jax Gorilla presses Banks. Jax walks back. Gorilla presses her, just walks her around and throws her onto a equipment case. So yeah, for that. Banks kicks out after the break. Jax has Banks in a torture rack. Banks almost reverses into the Banks statement. Jax escapes, Banks lands Meteor, and Jax kicks out. Let's see when Jax sends up for the Avalanche Samoan drop, but Banks tries to turn it into a powerbomb. Jax drops Banks face first on the top rope, and Banks takes a nasty fall. Banks barely takes out Tamina. Jax runs in the ring post. Banks tries to hit in a Hurricane Runner off the apron, but Jax hits the apron face first while Banks lands face first on the apron. That's twice in this match. Twice in this match that recklessness by Nia Jax could have either got herself hurt or Sasha Banks hurt. She has to go. She has got to. I don't care who she's related to. I don't care. She needs to be sent back, stripped of her name, stripped of everything, sent back to beginner school, and actually learn how to fucking wrestle. She can't fucking wrestle worth shit. And I'm sick and tired of seeing this bitch right here come out, think she's all talk, can't even fucking cut a goddamn promo without yelling, sucks on the fucking mic, sucks in the goddamn ring, needs to go back to Performance Center, or you know what? Here's your papers, get the fuck out. Nia Jax is awful. Banks wins this with the Banks statement after rolling through a slingshot for the tap out. Sasha Banks will be facing Ronda Rousey at the Royal Rumble for the Raw Women's Championship. But Nia Jax needs to go. That needs to be her last match on Monday Night Raw. Send her ass back to the Performance Center until she learns how to fucking wrestle. And if she isn't going to get the effort to fucking learn how to be a good wrestler or any semi-good wrestler, give her fucking walking papers because she is trash and she has always been trash. Now, What does this do for Ronda Rousey versus Sasha Banks? Why is this match happening? Sasha Banks is one of the 4 horsewomen of the WWE, while of course Ronda Rousey is one of the 4 horsewomen of MMA. This is going to continue until this is going to start building and continue the build to where we will eventually see Bayley and Ronda Rousey, Bayley, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Jessamyn Duke, Marina Shafir, and Shayna Baszler all coming together, and we get that Raw, that 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen match that WWE desperately wants to see. Now, I still say that we build this to Survivor Series. You have Shayna Baszler come up to the main roster on SmackDown. Ronda Rousey is traded to SmackDown for Charlotte Flair because Becky Lynch wins the Raw Women's Championship. And you have Becky, Charlotte, Bayley, and Sasha Banks on Raw, while eventually getting, and I would keep Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir down in NXT to at least Brooklyn. Oh, not Brooklyn, but Toronto. I think they're in Toronto, right, this year for SummerSlam. But you would have them come up the night, or 2 nights after we have that, and then you can build towards, or if you want to do this, if the second All Women's pay-per-view is going to happen after SummerSlam, then you would have Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir make their main roster debut if you want to do that. At that, by having them come in and attack whoever of the 4 horsewomen, and we get that big brawl, which leads to Survivor Series. And the Raw Women's and SmackDown Women's Champions will be in that match, so you would have the 4-on-4 women's match, SmackDown versus Raw, and it just makes it a whole lot easier for WWE. You don't have to have that. How are you going to do this match? The MMA women, 4 horsewomen on SmackDown, the MMA 4 horsewomen, the WWE 4 horsewomen on Raw. Well, you have them at Survivor Series, of course, in a Raw versus SmackDown champion versus champion match with all 4 women. That's my idea. And then we had our Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins Falls Count Anywhere match for the ICE Intercontinental Championship. I'm just going to say it right now, if anybody didn't see the finish of this match happening, then I don't know what to fucking tell you. And the biggest thing I hate about Falls Count Anywhere matches in WWE. Why does almost every main roster Falls Count Anywhere match end in the middle of the ring? What's the point of calling it a Falls Count Anywhere? You could have called it a street fight. You could have called it whatever, where the match has to end in the ring. That's basically what happened here. It happens every single time unless some stupid gimmick happens in which both men can't continue and the match is over. That's what we got here tonight. Rollins attacks Ambrose as he is walking down the ramp. We didn't even get, and this is something else that didn't make any sense. Ambrose, it's in Falls Count Anywhere match. Anything goes. Falls Count can go anywhere. Dan Ambrose gets attacked from behind by Seth Rollins. And the bell doesn't ring until we get both guys in the ring for a second. It's like, why isn't it when he's attacking and we don't get a bell ring? It just makes your refs look stupid. Near fall, down the ramp, Rollins gets a near fall after diving to the outside. Ambrose and Rollins fight into the backstage area. Rollins tosses Ambrose around the backstage area some more. Rollins tries to crush Ambrose with some metal scaffolding, which just looks stupid. We knew he wasn't going to get hit with it. Dan Ambrose was out of the way before that scaffolding was even halfway to him. Ambrose runs away. Ambrose and Rollins fight on top of a large crate. Rollins tries to powerbomb Ambrose, but Ambrose reverses it and sends Rollins headfirst into the equipment case. Ambrose hits Rollins with a ladder. Rollins kicks out after the break. Rollins and Ambrose are fighting in the crowd. You know, fun stuff. Moving on here a little bit. Ambrose pulls back the safety padding on the floor to expose concrete below. Rollins back body drops Ambrose to the concrete. Rollins hits the superplex, followed by a buckle bomb instead of a Falcon Arrow. Rollins super kicks Ambrose. Rollins calls for a stomp, hits it, goes for the pin, but of course, if anybody didn't see this coming, then you are a fucking idiot. Bobby Lashley pulls him out, sends Rollins into the ring post, hits a Dominator, followed by a spear Ambrose crawls over like he's dead weight for the 3 count, and he's still your Intercontinental Champion. After the match, Bobby Lashley spine busters Rollins through a table. Now, anybody, that was Monday Night Raw, but to anybody who thinks that Kenny Omega should be coming to WWE after the shit we saw tonight, he is better off going to All Elite Wrestling or Ring of Honor. Because this show tonight, outside of the Mean Gene tribute, just should show Kenny Omega that why the hell would I want to come here? Why the hell would I want to go to a place that like this? This was absolute trash. Absolutely 100% a trash show. I did a poll tonight, and I don't know I'm not that as big up as anyone else, but on my Twitter page, not exclamation point, but Twitter at the France on Twitter, and like it had like 6 or 7 votes because I'm still a small channel trying to get myself up, and like 75% of them were I put thumbs up, thumbs down, watch something better, and fuck WWE, and it was like 75% fuck thumbs up, and I'm like, I don't know what you people were watching, but hey, it's your opinion. This was a shit show, and there's people who want to see Kenny Omega come to WWE, and WWE gave Kenny Omega a fantastic offer last week, apparently. Yet, and by the way, Kenny Omega's contract isn't up for New Japan until after the Royal Rumble. So anybody who thinks he's going to be at the Royal Rumble, keep dreaming. It's not going to happen. His contract is up on the 31st or the 30th. The Royal Rumble was before that. But WWE just gave Kenny Omega all the reason to think I should have no reason to come to WWE if that's what they're going to do. If that's what they're going to do, then I want nothing to do with WWE. But that was your Monday Night Raw review. New year, same Monday Night Raw. Same shit, different year. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at The France. Follow me on twitch.tv/TheFrance08. I'll be streaming tomorrow morning as soon as I get up and get myself a little bit of, sugar in me or some kind of freshener. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon for an unscripted extra, probably going up an hour before SmackDown, where we will talk about everything. Maybe if there's anything important about the rally that we're going to be having in Jacksonville tomorrow for AEW, we will have an AEW reaction or something if it comes to it tomorrow. But until then, my name is The France, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for hopefully news on that, and then SmackDown Live tomorrow night. Until then, my name is The France, and I'm getting out of here.